This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 13, starting here at verse 19. In Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Heavenly Father, known as the Creator, in whom the world ignorantly calls as God, whose true name is Yahweh in the Hebrew, and his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus. I want to give double honors to the leaders of the nation of Israel in these last days, Great Millstone, also known as GMS, for they are the true shepherds set up by Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai in these last days. And shalom, peace and blessings to the men that are out in the four corners of the earth, pushing his word in sincerity and truth, waking up and feeding the sheep and the lambs of the Lord, and the sisters that support and subscribe wholeheartedly to the message of deliverance and salvation of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, because this message of salvation is really preached unto you all, the true believers, until the time that the Heavenly Father allows the last single soul of the elect to be sealed, and the angels of the Lord are no longer holding back those winds. But as we're reading here in the book of Isaiah, the 13th chapter, going into Babylon, that great glory of kingdoms, it states that it shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. And it's, we understand that Sodom and Gomorrah were wicked cities. You had Sodom, Gomorrah, and the other surrounding cities, as there were a total of 5. So there were the 3 others that aren't necessarily mentioned. But there was wickedness there. There was homosexuality there. There was abominations there. There was blasphemy there. And the Heavenly Father rained down fire and brimstone upon the inhabitants of those countries. In verse 20, it says, "It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there. Neither shall the shepherds make their fold there." And historically speaking, and even present day speaking, that Babylon area, that region, is still being inhabited by individuals. People are still living there. So what Babylon is it talking about? It's talking about the great daughter of Babylon, right? As it is written, who art to be destroyed. As we always state, that it's talking about the USA. And when you look at the comparisons of how this place is set up, just as the ancient civilizations and kingdoms were set up in a wicked manner, and you compare the level of wickedness unto what the Heavenly Father judged in past times, you can truly narrow down and weigh in the balance on how the similarities of actions shall reap the same similarities of judgments. Verse 21, "But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. And the wild beasts of the island shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, her days shall not be prolonged." And what is that time? That's the time of judgment, the time of destruction, right? Because as it is written, the earth is reserved unto fire. So this region and certain other places throughout the globe, the Heavenly Father has ordained those particular areas to be destroyed, the same as he did Sodom and Gomorrah. And that's why the wickedness is compared, right? The wickedness of Babylon is compared unto how the Heavenly Father overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. So the wickedness is compared unto Sodom and Gomorrah, and the overthrowing is compared unto Sodom and Gomorrah, because it says what in verse 22, "And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged." So the time period, the Heavenly Father has an expiration date stamped upon the label of Babylon. We can't see it from the inside looking out. Neither can the Son who sitteth on the right hand of the Father see it, as he is near and nigh unto the Lord, the Heavenly Father himself, right? But as it is written, no man knoweth the hour, the time of the season that the Heavenly Father shall send his only begotten Son with the host of the heavenly angels. Now we're going to read here in the book of Luke chapter 21. This is going to be verse 31. It says, "So likewise, when ye see these things come to pass, know ye that the kingdom of the Most High is at hand. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass away till all be fulfilled." Meaning what? That the word was going to be preached from one end of the earth unto the other, and then shall the end come. So the Heavenly Father has it outlined in sequential order on these steps that are going to take for the mishaps of Babylon to be overthrown. And when you look at righteousness versus wickedness, which do you prefer? Because you can scroll through the news, you can scroll through social media, you can sit out in public, you can go to a public scene, a public area, and you see the utter throughness of the people in this world. And they need righteousness. They need salvation. Hell, if not for you, for them. Because this place is through. And we as a people are through. But the end is being manifest. And Yahweh Bashim Shai is going to make that manifestation a thing that is going to be placed before the faces of the world, the people's faces. Everything you're going to see it right before your eyes. Now let's see here, because we're going to jump to the book of Second Ezra as well, and I'm going to see what chapter 8 says. So I'm gonna come back to Zechariah. We're gonna move to the second Ezra, chapter 8. As a matter of fact, let's start at chapter 9, verse 1. Second Ezra 9:1. He answered me then and said, "Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made." And why is he going to visit him? He's going to come by and say hello to everyone. What is that visitation talking about? It's talking about the visitation of judgment. "Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of these things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest." And that's that time that we're spiritually preparing for, because there's actually nothing physically that you can do to prepare for it. You're not going to be able to accumulate wealth and buy your way out of it. You're not going to be able to exercise and run your way out of it. So the only thing that you can do is prepare spiritually. That way you're spiritually prepared, because as it is written, wisdom and knowledge shall be your stability. So that's what's going to make you stable, knowing the difference between right and wrong, knowing the difference between what can save your life and what can lose your life. And it all just goes back to faith. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 1. "To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace." And why is that? Because all things under the Heavenly Father deals with complete dualities. He deals with complete balance. So as things are brought in, things are exited out. As things are planted, they are uprooted. And it just so happily This country was planted, and the Heavenly Father placed rulership over it. He placed his people inside of it to be oppressed together and to go into captivity for trespassing his law, statutes, and commandments. But such as he planted all of these things here in Babylon the Great, or the great daughter of Babylon, known as the United States. He planted all of these things along with his people in this bowl of wickedness. He's going to reverse that, right? Because for everything, there's a season. Like, wickedness was never to be a forever thing. Wickedness was a punishment. Wickedness was a curse. But the Heavenly Father is going to reverse that with the new covenant, going into him placing his laws, statutes, and commandments, the true wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of him and his only begotten Son, and the virtue of life in the inward parts of the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Latinos, Native American Indians, the Israelites. And he's going to make his people finally perfect to where wickedness shall be no more. And we're going to be able to judge the nations, right? Because they have no part in that promise of the new covenant. But they will still be living. But they will be, you can compare it into the kings of this world, or the super wealthy, the super elite, who have the whole entire earth in their hand. They have everything that is pleasant at their disposal. But yet, a certain group of people have absolutely nothing. They're in the barrios, they're in the ghetto, they're in the slums, they're in the favelas. They're on the reservations. They're in the trailer parks. They're just doing bad. They're on the streets. But you compare those two extreme opposites, and that's how the kingdom of heaven is going to be magnified time infinity, because you can't put a number on it. But Most High is willing, you were able to get some type of edification out of that, to where it nourishes your mind, body, soul, and spirit with the words of comfort. So until next time, I say shalom.